Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 13 of the Void Frogs podcast. My name is Stifflered, and I am joined, as always, with my co-host, the qmagnet, and a most wonderful guest.
Most wonderful. With a long history in the map-making scene, today's guest has taken his skills to the next level. While others have tinkered with command blocks, he's long made the position that Minecraft is not just a game, but a game engine itself. With design in his blood and development in his heart, his talents led him to Mojang. Now as a content coordinator for the marketplace and realm submitted content. And another member of the community now on the inside. His journey is impressive, dwarfed only by the universe's one burning question: is Redstone truly dead? Let's find out! Welcome to the Void Frogs podcast, Moesh!
Thank you for having me. Oh, man.
That's a hard name to give a long... It's only one syllable, and I can't go the sh for very long, you know what I mean?
Well, the qmagnet's really nice. You can go, the qmagnet.
Yes. We can change names if you really want.
Maybe. Ooh, that'd be pretty good.
Does he get the world record if you guys change names?
Well, that's got my real name on it, so we'd have to actually legally
I'll take
change
that too.
names. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a spare room, right? You need to step in, step out, it'll be fine.
You can just go with the Moesh magnet.
There you go.
Yeah, all right.
Then next time you get in the Royal Rumble, they are able to announce your name.
It'll be the qmagnet.
The qmagnet.
qmagnet.
What is going on? Hey, Moesh, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
How's it going, man? Oh.
It's going very good, very good.
Good.
I'm happy to be here.
You're indoors now? Are you going out to work? Or are you all stuck at home now?
We transitioned to home right away. It's been over a month for me.
Yeah, you going stir
crazy?
crazy?
It feels normal, actually.
Really?
When I first started at Mojang, it was at home in Moncton, New Brunswick, between the two companies. So Sweden was 5 hours this way, and Redmond, Washington, Seattle was 4 hours the other way. So I got I was the split shift, if you think of it in factory terms.
Yeah.
Wait, so you were still okay? So anybody who doesn't know, New Brunswick's in Canada. Yes, another Canadian on the show. You didn't move immediately to Sweden?
No.
You were flying back and forth, or how was that working?
They picked me up as a contractor. So
okay.
I worked from home on my home PC.
Mm-hmm.
And I did 18 months, I think, of work for Mojang.
Wow.
Reviewing realms maps and setting up the marketplace and getting that ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then I was hired, and I think the paperwork was signed in November 21st, almost 3 years ago this November.
Living the dream. That's so cool. How many people have they've snapped up a few community? Actually, is it the majority of community people now, or?
I'd say that's a half and half.
Yeah.
We like to celebrate the community members. And
yeah.
Like Mikkel Slice Lime, I think is another outstanding community and map maker who is on the Java team.
Yep.
Now King B Dogs, Kojo from Tropicraft.
Yep.
A lot of great community members, but I also see it from the other side where we have someone from the industry coming in, or someone who maybe is an intern and this is their first job.
Right.
And these are the people that we celebrate just as much, because it's not just community members that can make great Minecraft stuff. I think the more that we get diversity in different skill sets in different areas, the more that it can be great.
Yeah, the more diversity.
The more diversity it brings. Yeah, see how about that?
All right.
I totally agree with that. I think that's great. I think that a lot of people might miss out, not to take away from you or from the community members, but a lot of people might miss out that if you have experience outside of Minecraft, you might still be bringing something really great to the table, and it could be really beneficial to all of us. So I think that's cool. I have a question for you though. you're working from home, New Brunswick, on your home PC. Did you have to get a new PC? For like security
right away,
reasons and
almost.
stuff? Yeah.
No, actually, it's interesting because Mojang was mainly on Google stuff. So we have a Google Suite email.
Yeah.
But I also have a Microsoft email.
Yeah.
And before I had it as a contractor, now I have it as like a full-time employee of Microsoft.
For sure.
Like Hotmail? Go back to Hotmail?
Hotmail. That was I had a Canada.com email address.
Wow.
Nice.
.com. Not .ca, really.
My Steam login user is still my name at Canada.com.
That's pretty.
They won't let me change it. Like it just doesn't exist anymore. But I have it.
Your country just had a Canada.com thing?
You could just go there and sign up. It was great.
That's weird. I thought that was like against the law. There's these commercials where the Mounties like bust. Have you seen them? They bust through the door like, "Don't you get a .com address? Get a .ca address."
What?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, okay, let's go back in time. Let's go back to the history of Moesh.
Who is Moesh?
First off the top of our list, where does this name come from, Moesh?
Yeah.
Obviously not your real name, but
Before I was into Minecraft, I was a spoken word poet, a slam poet in Canada.
Oh.
So I was on a few national teams. I helped run a poetry slam. And I was like the city's love poet, in some sense. This was a environmental poetry scene, and I was the one going like, "Oh, you broke my heart, and I'm really sad about it. Golly." One of my favorite poets from the spoken word scene is a guy named Anis Moshgani. So I took his last name for a World of Warcraft character, and that's spelt Mojgani. Which is just not pronounceable. So to the average person, they're like, okay, Mogani, Mojgani, and I'm like, just call me Moesh at some point, M-O-J. And that then became Moesh.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is so surprising and incredible. You were a slam poet. Do you still do that?
I went to an open mic. I went to a poetry slam, I think, in January or early February before all this happened.
That's so cool.
Is that like where they do the snapping instead of the clapping? Is that the same thing, or is that something different?
Yeah. In a lot of the scenes, you clap at the end of a poem. You clap for the poet, and then if they have a line that they like, you just like, yeah, I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
It's a lot more energetic than you might see in the movies.
This is like what are the beatniks or something they call them? I remember playing this game called Grim Fandango. Do you remember that game?
Yeah,
it's a great little adventure game. And they had this thing where you had to say these. They didn't even make sense. These poetry, but they all had these berets and these glasses, and they're all snapping. It was like this little poetry set on the cruise. I thought they were called beatniks, but maybe I got the terminology wrong.
It's a split scene. It started in the 60s in, I want to say, Detroit now, as a response to all the pretension of poetry in that scene. You'd listen to a person go on for like 30 minutes about something and be like, what was that? That was so boring. Like, you have to be educated to understand the brilliance of this. And I like, not like I made it, but I think about the guy who made poetry slams and as like this is for the audience.
Yeah.
And to me, that kind of, I've always taken that spirit and that quality and applied it to map making.
Yeah, I remember seeing videos, and I couldn't find it. It was deleted by, I think it was called Wanderlost or something. You did a Let's Play. You did poetry over your Let's Play. It was completely unique to anything that I saw out there. I knew you had a little bit of a poetry, but I didn't know you actually went on open mic and all that stuff. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I competed in Canada for the Guelph and London teams.
That's so cool.
Oh, man. Yeah. We should have put that in. He's a poet before he was a map maker.
And you didn't know it. But he did. The rest of
Roses
us
are red.
Don't do
Okay,
it.
so
It's a terrible
next
line.
question I got for you, because we've known each other for quite a few years. Used to go under Le Moesh. I see now you're Heartless Moesh. Is Moesh really heartless? What's going on there? You switching some names?
You doing all
Any
right?
story
Pat?
behind that?
I always like this kind of bad boy bit. I remember I used to play up to it a lot, like, oh, I'm heartless and I'm ruthless about what I think about your map. I'm going to tell you like it is.
You did.
And
You gave me a
I've
rating.
cooled
I can't
off.
remember.
What did if I rated your map, I did not rate it fairly.
I believe your rating was like, okay, we start with a perfect score, and for everything I don't like, you lose a point, and a little more, and more, and more.
I mean, how does that ever hold up to scrutiny?
Oh.
Golly.
I was watching the Mukluk trailer, and it even even that was like a 2.5 stars, I think, or like 3.5 stars or something. So no perfect score even there for a map.
We really wanted to sell how terrible the sledding lodge was.
That's great.
It was pretty
Terrible.
cool, but I mean, there was no facilities
Yeah. Oh,
anywhere on the map.
you need to be realistic.
You go in the
I
snow.
see.
That's,
I see.
you know,
I see what you're saying. Okay.
you know?
Well, as always, I do a bunch of research on people we have on, and something I noticed about your gameplay footage from Minecraft was pretty interesting. You have the left arm
Yeah, I do.
up in the screen instead of the right arm. You must be left-handed.
I am very much left-handed.
Is that like a in X-Men it's like a mutation superpower? Is that how it is? Like one of the elite?
It helps me with movement and really fast typing, but I can't aim at all.
No?
So I still play right-handed with my mouse.
So you have your right hand on the mouse. Now, what I do is in Minecraft, I switch the two buttons, which works out because the left hand is the left button, and now that they added offhand stuff, and the right hand is the right button, just because I wanted to place blocks with the left button. You don't switch those.
No, I'm trying to think of how I feel about it. To me, it feels mirrored on the screen, so I know that I swing on this side. If I click with my right side, to me, like it's the two hands like working together. I'm able to remap my mind to that control scheme.
And we just
Same
throw
with
you
controllers
off
and
if you
touch too.
switched it.
Yeah.
Wait, Q,
I
are
see.
you left-handed?
I'm not. Well, some things I am, like a batting. I'm left-handed, but mostly right-handed.
This isn't about you, but I'm like, why did you switch your buttons?
So I just said so when I first started playing Minecraft, I wanted to place blocks with the main finger.
Yeah.
And it annoyed me, and so I switched them, and I've gotten used to it. So every time I see a map and it says right click, I'm like, no, you can't say that. You can't say right click because not everybody does right click.
You gotta say interact.
Yeah, interact. Yes, that's right.
1.16, we need to update to switch that for everybody, because I think
That's
that
right.
your way makes sense. So if we
Force
could do
it.
that,
Force it. Get your
1.16.
contacts in there.
All
right.
break my heart.
Okay, so
You're
so
heartless.
Moesh is a
You know?
veteran of the map makers. He's gotten into Mojang, as we said. Actually, before we go into some of your maps, I did want to ask you: is Redstone truly dead? How do you feel
ever gonna
about that?
die? It came back in a big way at the start of the marketplace.
Because they were a little bit behind in technology, I'd say.
I took a flight out to Redmond to teach some the creator toolkit team over there how to make maps in Java.
Yeah.
And it kind of was like, okay, so this is a little Redstone. We'll talk about this for 10, 15 minutes. And we're going to move on for the next 16 hours and talk about functions and command blocks.
Yeah, I'm watching
I
some
think
of you. Go
in
ahead.
context, it's still dead.
It's still dead.
It's still dead.
There's still way better ways to accomplish everything.
For people out there listening, we're not saying that don't use Redstone in Minecraft, because it's really cool to use contraptions and stuff. But Moesh always had this presence about him that optimization first, number one, I got that opinion, And by the time Redstone block came out, you're now creating different types of clocks. Don't bother with the particle redstone dust type clocks because it's too slow. It can't give me that cool PvP score checking thing, and I kind of get it all in there.
I think that covers it. To me, it was reliability.
Mm-hmm.
The state of playing a Minecraft map could be so fragile that if it broke, it was like, oh, it's redstone right away.
Yeah.
Like maybe it didn't load right, it loaded in incorrect state, it updated 300 times a second magically at some updates.
Yeah.
I'm getting flashbacks now of how extra difficult it was to make custom features and be like, okay, every 10 ticks, like every 1/10 of a second, this is gonna check, and maybe it's gonna get it right.
Yeah. I had
was
that
obsessed
problem
with reliability over optimization.
For me, it was like I always thought, let a player do what is easy for them, and then they can improve. But I remember in my first diversity map, if you killed 2 enemies too quickly, it wouldn't count both of them because the redstone just wasn't quick enough to capture that.
Break my heart, you know. I remember these things.
Nostalgia.
Did you ever, besides the map making part of it, did you ever do much with optimization of those things relating to servers? Because redstone on servers is a whole other deal. Very inconsistent from one server to another, one day to the next.
Oh, my experience with this. My first Minecraft project entirely was a PvP map for 10 players.
Yeah.
And the only reason I started it, I remember looking at it before at like Aronoff Mansion, and I think at that time City of Love was around the corner, and I went, I'm never gonna do this with Redstone, with command blocks, with like this is too much effort. So as soon as the give and teleport command came out, I went, oh, okay, now I can go. Now I can make the things I want to make. And from that point on, I was trying to make things work for servers, for all the different kind of development environments and the production that could happen of like bad ping. It's like, okay, as long as the player can do whatever they want, eventually the system has to catch it.
Yeah.
And I designed things with that mentality.
Interesting. Were there many other people who had that same mentality back then when you were just getting started?
I think I was kind of stuck in my ways because a lot of people just did server mods like auto ref for Race for the Wool.
Yeah.
And worked on things that way. I was really obsessed with what could Minecraft do out of the box without any technical fancy mojo. Because I think back to making maps for Quake 2 and Dark Forces 2. The level editors were so esoteric, and then you had to compile it 4 times, and then maybe like make sure the things like were properly sealed in a vacuum so the player didn't fall out of the level, and maybe then the lights didn't, like the texture was there but the light didn't work. Where Minecraft, you put a torch and the light came like right away. It's like, whoa, what a level editor. What an amazing level editor this is. And oh wow. That's really what it came with.
We used to have little, I consider them friendly debates about, is a map a mod or is it not a mod, and what command blocks versus mods and things like that. And you were always pushing, you're switching the game to do against its will, and you were kind of, I always thought it was more like DLC for a game, but how do you feel that way? Do you still kind of have that same opinion? Not really thought about it, or?
Hey, I went back in my Twitter feed this past couple weeks because I wanted to see where I was. And if you go back and you look, I see the same phrases I repeat every time I talk about custom map making and my feelings on it. It's always kind of been the same, like as you said, like obsession with optimization and quality and connecting. To me, back then, it was about connecting the creative community to the technical community. So I wanted to lessen the difference between builders and gameplay. I wanted the designers to be in control more than the people who were making technical bits or whatever. I felt that made the stronger overall projects. I think it was as far as from like the escape craft mentality, where like this is an impressive toy and a technical marvel to play with. I wanted every moment to feel like an extension of Minecraft and an extension of that feeling of it. But I still think they're mods. I still think they're maybe scripted DLC.
Yeah.
I think you're right now. You're accurate to say this is more DLC than it's ever been.
Yeah,
especially we don't get to play like a Gary's mod. We're playing Trouble in Terrorist Town now.
Yeah. You look at marketplace stuff now, and it kind of looks like Minecraft, but all these custom textures and stuff. It's completely different game now at this point.
That was a great debate too. Of do you include the resource pack or not? Is that authentic to the feeling of Minecraft? And there was a subsect of the community who was hard no on creating any additional assets.
Yeah.
I thought it was so easy.
I don't want to get into a fight about it, but you know.
I mean, we were on opposite sides of this debate, I remember.
Wait, are you guys still on opposite sides of this debate? I got to see this play out. Where's my popcorn at?
Hey, let's go into the history of Moesh map making now.
This is fascinating to me, though, for real, because like I'm curious why you felt that was the better approach at the time, if not still today, like what made those maps at the time better to take the approach that you did?
I think now, I can't speak to then. I feel I've grown and chilled out a lot, and maybe chilled out in my approach to how I would address this. Now, I think if it fits the project, do what you need to do. If it's a resource pack, if it's sounds, or if it's completely new textures and new model behaviors, and now new entity behaviors in Bedrock. Why limit yourself? Do exactly what you need to do as long as it's supported. And to me, that was the distinction. I didn't find a lot of the behavior and a lot of the hacky ways that map makers were doing things to be officially supported, so therefore it could break. Yeah. I'm interested in content that like lives from update to update to update and doesn't break the heart of creators when the whole game just breaks something really beautiful. So to me, I never wanted to work in that space where something can break. And I worked so hard on 4 versions of Calamity back then that like every time I did it, I wanted to update the design, and I wanted the flexibility to tinker and play with the right settings. I didn't think that releasing something and it's released and it's done forever was always the right way to go. It's great for some projects, though.
Yeah. What was that ever a part of your approach when you were reviewing maps as well? Were you considering, those, adding in the other models or textures or sounds or things like that? Or did you, when you reviewed things, were you just downloading it and accepting it for what it was and then just reviewing it based on the game playability or the experience itself?
Before joining Mojang, I think I would have thought, what is the best implementation of what they're trying to accomplish? And if it's 7 armor stands and they're all kind of actuating in a weird way, and then the thing just like walks off the edge, I was like, okay, well maybe that was a weird implementation. A redstone tick didn't go off, so it went off its track. Maybe there was an easier way to do it. And on the opposite side, if I see a wall of signs or a bunch of floating text, I'm like, whoa, hold up. Maybe there's a better way now. It's like, I think it's a creator flavor, and there's no accounting for style.
Yeah. It's hard to do because, you've seen a lot of projects. You've seen how some people do good things. You've seen how some people do bad things. And you've got on one hand, you've got newcomers, which I always felt need to be more encouraged than say, hey, don't do it this way, do this way. and as they mature. But at the same point, you got to look for a certain amount of quality, and some design elements just aren't good choices. And I don't know how you can. You're in the position where you have to actually give that opinion to some people who submit.
I've always viewed it as a mentorship kind of quality. There's we're not a QA pass as a content team in Mojang. We're thinking about brand quality. We're thinking about the way the game play, how deep it is, how wide it is. If an implementation of something now is bad, we have a lot of good test cases and reviews look at it and say, hey, see how this is more sustainable.
Yeah.
We understand you put like 2 hours of work into your intro book menu sign wall, but it's kind of busted. And if you did this very simple thing, it would be better, and you wouldn't have to do 2 hours of work every time we need you to make one change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so before Q moves in a direction that he wants to, I have one last question on this, because you mentioned floating text. So before I start working on my
Is that
servers,
a hatred?
Huh?
I did not know this. No?
Is what?
I was going to say, is that a hatred?
Right, so that's my question, is like, before I start working on my servers and my maps and everything that I want to do, should I have invisible armor stands with holographic text floating in the sky, or is that like, no, don't do that, Stifflered?
What's the view distance on it?
It's 16 blocks.
16 blocks.
Yeah. Got to get
That's
up.
pretty
close.
hard on a small phone
Look
screen.
at this. See, you ask one question, he's got all this
Like,
context
if we think about
that he's
this
thinking
here,
about behind.
Yep.
And you think it would be bad, but actually on a Minecraft screen here, a lot of that text is readable if you have about 7 lines or less.
Okay.
And then the player doesn't have to like look up and then look down again, and then hyper focus on the text. If it's like 15, 20 lines, they have to like stand there and go all the way up and then look all the way down. I think
There's my
of
map.
text and floating text and buttons and signs and options as like if you were to stand against a subway map and it's right here in your face, versus like how far back, how much of the information can I take in and scan, like a readable website. You notice a lot of websites now are columns where your your eye can stay focused and just go da 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 da.
Yep.
I think of Minecraft communication in this way. So if it's holographic text, of course it's going to be like, wow, this isn't a room, or this is up against a wall, and I have to stand in the right place, like the old LCD screens, to see it right, and I have to like make sure that nothing else is behind it. It's all in the implementation and the style of the map now. So if it's a futuristic map, amazing. If you want to sell that it's like a lobby in a medieval adventure map, why is the text floating?
Yeah.
Why isn't it on
There
some
you go.
scrolls on a lectern or like a sign, or like some guy NPC yelling it out?
Yeah. Hey, that's
Like,
solid.
to me,
tip.
it's all about the immersion now, because we have so many options.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. That was a very good answer. I was, maybe a little joke or something. No, you actually are very clear, and you know exactly what
He
to tell
knows
me.
what he likes. He knows what he wants.
He's been doing this
So-
for a while. He's good at his job.
All right. Speaking of doing it for a while, let's go way back. I'm going to make a claim, and you're going to tell me if it's correct or not. You were pretty well known for this map called Calamity. Is that kind of your big baby that put you out there?
That was my breakout project, I'd say.
Yeah. No,
I'd
why
like
don't you
to be
tell people what
remembered
this is? What this is? A PvP.
Calamity
giving it-
is a 2-lane attack defend map where the
Okay.
objective is to cross the cross lane and get to the enemy's bastion and hold the objective room for 90 seconds. There's some nice symmetry there.
We might bring
That
that
my
up
very
again
first
later.
Minecraft project included a map named for the event in a game called Bastion,
Wow.
and included a bastion in the level.
It's foreshadowing. That's what it is. Now you went. What year was this? 2013.
2013.
And you
in March.
You did 4 versions of this. right?
Over 2 years, I would say. Yeah.
Now, what was the difference between it? Was the same build, was it not?
Roughly. Let's go through it. The first one was in the classic adventure mode in Minecraft. So there was a small time in Minecraft where if you were in adventure mode, you needed a pickaxe to break stone, you needed a shovel to break dirt, you needed wood, an axe to break wood.
Yeah.
And I took this mechanic and I said, all right, everyone starts with an axe. So you can break the wood, but you can't break stone. You have to have like the right tools. So when you create your defenses, you don't just create them out of stone or the strongest material. You create them out of a mix match and hope someone doesn't have the right tool.
Yeah.
And that was the kind of the key bit about the project. And for those who don't know, Calamity was a response to another great map, Revolution. I looked at that map and said, I'm going to do the same concept, but everything opposite. Where this is a castle on the ground, I'm going to do floaty islands in space. Mm-hmm. Where they use stone, I'm going to use end stone. Grass, I used mycelium. This kind of, the whole concept is taken from Cosmologic's map. Mm. But the claim to fame was the adventure mode, and then the control points where you could capture a point and get resources for your team. So in this way, the map never ran dry of resources. And I could tune them right so you could... The time that you burned making hard decisions going down lanes to defend your island, your bastion, or your choke point, it had a real resource and health cost. So either you had enough blocks to live, you had enough armor, you had enough tools, or people would have to come and support you and drop off items.
Gotcha.
So a lot of resource management that way. In the second version, the adventure mode came out, went away, and I just went with straight survival. And then in the third version is where I was really happy with the project finally. I slimmed down the redstone boxes. There used to be a whole redstone contraption and logic system for stepping on a pressure point, stepping off of it. Mm-hmm. And then you'd hear like 3 pistons fire, and then a clock would start happening as it ticked down. And then at the end, you'd hear like, and then you'd get your items. It was great. I loved that. I loved having like the redstone in the map. It gave it like a really crunchy, tangible, like, oh, this is like an actual machine working in the island. Mm-hmm. And then I went full wireless redstone and left that feeling behind forever.
We can't find the trailer for the release trailer. It's all deleted. I was trying to look it up.
YouTube deleted my old channel.
YouTube.
My Dalagov channel. My Bad Wolf Studios. So sad.
Oh, Bad Wolf Studios. I remember.
Something like that.
That was a question. I was going to ask you, what is Dalagov?
Daligulf.
Daligulf.
My terrible pronunciation. I was a Doctor Who fan who just translated to Bad Wolf.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. The back when it was really good. Foreshadow.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you mentioned, Bastions and Calamity. So that's based off of that top-down video game.
Yeah.
I love that game.
I love that guy's voice.
It's so good. That game is such an inspiration. I have to sadly admit that I haven't played the Calamity maps.
Don't worry about it. Don't.
They're all in media.
I have to now
search
because
for them.
Bastion is one of my favorite games, and now it'll come up again a little bit later in the conversation.
He wanted to find the download.
We're gonna get to it. Man, that's so cool.
So he went to Mediafire and he clicked download, and then he downloaded.
I don't know if you'll find much to love about Calamity.
Hey, I'm
when you love Bastion.
Yeah, no,
but I can say like. The teams were named after the enemies in my other 2 favorite games, Quake 2, The Strogg, and Half-Life 2, The Combine.
Nice.
So there's just a lot of little Easter eggs and hints to things I loved.
So you did. I watched this video by you again. I'd seen it before, but I watched it just recently this week. A short history of Moesh. You had a few things in there. You had the motion board, which had a trademark beside it. You had Wits, you had IDE, Scavenger, Tooth, Monster Kids, Overhead, a bunch of different projects. The motion board, was that just the checkerboard
It was a checkerboard and also
chunk
a whole.
thing.
It was
Nobody's gonna know what I'm talking about, but
okay. Minecraft has spawn chunks, and the spawn chunks are always loaded. I wanted to know every single chunk that was loaded and every single chunk that was pseudo loaded.
okay.
So I created a checkerboard pattern on the grid lines for was it the 9x9 or 8x8 spawn chunks, and then the 2 pseudo loaded chunks around it.
Yeah.
And that was the first board, or maybe not the first iteration, but the most complete version of it.
And
the first one was a circuit board
that we all copied. Apparently,
I don't know if I created it.
I stole it from you because it's in Diversity 3. I didn't even know it was yours. You created Diversity 3, apparently.
Ah, there it is. The underlying technology.
The motion board. Moesh apostrophe and apostrophe board, because you're so hip hop, right?
That's it. That's right. That's right. The very first one was it was a reflection of the redstone wiring just made in 2D. So it had this weird, amazing circuitry look, and I was like, it's like a motherboard. Motion board. And that was it.
Oh, there's the history. There's the secret behind it.
And IDE and motion board eventually became the thing. It was like a text toolbar pop-up that's like, here, give me all my command blocks, or teleport me to this location, or hey, set a checkpoint here because I got to fly off to the map and I want to teleport back to this exact work location I had. Yeah. So it was a whole development data pack now, I guess we would call it, to make life easier for moving between the circuitry and the map.
Pioneer before all this stuff was easier now. You were kicking it out of that brain of yours. You did a bunch of these stuff. Were most of them Mod Jam maps? I listed off a whole bunch of them there. Yeah,
let's see. 2 of them are Mod Jam maps. The Wits, which is a promise I made to Sarge to do a Monkey Island implementation.
Wait,
the insult battle.
Wait a minute. I had not heard of Monkey Island. Was one of my favorite games. You made that in Minecraft?
I made like kind of a hacky bit. I wanted it to be a PvP fight. So one person would do like hit off a riddle, and the other one would have to choose like another insult that rhymed and like made sense.
Yeah.
And you'd gain points. So I implemented all the answers and all the questions from a few of the Monkey Island games during that mod jam, and I built a true and false detector out of slime blocks and pistons back in that time, I think.
So that's from Wits?
That's from Wits. The other one is Overhead. I'm sorry?
Can we get these? Can I get this map? I want to play
Let me look at... it's maybe. I'll try to find it.
Yeah.
It's I loved it so much.
Overhead. You were talking about Overhead. That was 2018. I think your video there.
It was the last Mod Jam I did, Mod Jam 5, I think. And this was a map where you would float in midair as long as you were under stained glass.
Okay.
And if you went under a solid block, you'd shoot up. So it was like a repulsor of the glass. And above the glass was a lava layer. So it was a reverse spleef where you would break the air and the lava would fall down really fast. Break the glass.
Yeah, for anyone who's not aware of what we're talking about, Mod Jam, it's a weekend, right?
I think so, yeah.
A weekend where a whole bunch of people come together and just make like maps or games or things. I think on a Minecraft server. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
It was. I would never do it. It's too stressful. I can't work under pressure like that. But like a lot of people get involved in this thing and make some really cool stuff, like Monkey Island in Minecraft that now I want.
Is Monkey? What was that?
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask if is Monkey Island the game with Guybrush?
Yeah, Guybrush Threepwood.
Yeah.
All right. Now
I played from Escape from Monkey Island was my first one, which I guess was heresy, but I was a kid. I didn't know. I always remember when he gets to the cliff and you like, maybe I should jump off, and you hit yes, and he's like, maybe later.
Escape
was the fourth one, I think.
The 3D one, right?
Oh, yeah, the 2.5D kind of.
Yeah, I have all of them. Even they came back with them, like I think Telltale or somebody came back with them. They weren't as good as the LucasArts ones, but yeah, I like the third one.
As my memories.
Third one was all cartoony, and they also redid them. I'm gushing over Monkey Island. I had no idea you loved that. I love that game. Anyway, so you've done all these maps. You also have another hidden talent that maybe now not a lot of people know, but you had a little resource pack go on there called 3 Steps. Right?
Yeah, 3 steps.
How many blocks did you... Well, actually, first of all, explain what you did with this. This was interesting.
I was looking for something as Reddit bait to get to the top of the Minecraft subreddit.
The perfect goal.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was Mackensign doing the birds and all these things.
On Nowhere did the birds.
On Nowhere did the birds, right? And then there was he's still active in the community today. The one command block.
Oh,
person.
Ija.
Ija.
We had him on the show. Yeah.
So in that day of age, there was always something really cool happening with these things, and I was looking for something that was a bit different. I was looking at the crafting recipe, and I went, wait a second, that's 3 stairs
There's 3 stairs, not 2.
It's such a ridiculous concept,
yeah.
And I think the only reason it worked is because of how cool the website was for it.
Oh, really?
My friend Weremuffin made a website for me where you could opt into all the different modifications we made. Uh-huh. So you could build a resource pack out of all the components that we had, and then it would compile it. So you could get 3 stairs when you make the crafting recipe, but maybe you didn't like the beds that looked like just wood in a wool block.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe you wanted the fancy bed, or maybe you wanted a nursery bed. Maybe you wanted your stone to actually look like proper stone bricks made out of this and that. It was a whole fun thing to do.
You did like 3D-ish kind of like popped out textures and things like that, right?
Yeah, like the cauldron was made out of white iron ingots, like silver iron ingots. Why is the cauldron so black?
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a more logical crafting recipe. How many blocks did you do in that one?
I want to say like I did 24 to 30 or something. But then also we had to redo the brick textures to match the stone. The textures on 3 stairs instead of 2 stairs looked weird, so you had to redo the stonework so it would align correctly. So there's a lot of hidden work in redesigning the texture mapping to properly tile.
So how do you, for someone who's never done that stuff, how are you going in and actually changing these textures and popping out and making it look semi 3D? What program are you using to do that?
Wow. Back in the day, it was Cubic Studio by Pure BDcraft. The BDcraft texture pack guy had a model editor.
Oh.
Nowadays, you'd use Blockbench. We have industry standards. We didn't have this 7 years ago.
That's right.
Oh, my heart.
I'm bringing it back.
Oh, it's so good. So yeah, I would use a program now like Blockbench.
Yep.
And then I would make 3 kind of pixel-proof tiers of stairs, and then just paint on the texture. It's really that simple these days.
Just
Back in the day, it was exactly that. I used Photoshop. Now I would use Sprite or Paint.net, or I'm using Clip Studio for non-pixel artwork now.
You have like the tool set of... You use the most tools of anyone I can think of. I remember watching your not a tutorial. If you haven't seen it, you have to kind of dig deep for this series. But here's 15 different programs you can choose from. I use creative mode. That's my building tool.
Nice. That's a good tool, and you get a lot done.
Yeah.
Do you use creative mode to plan all your Diversity 3 projects too?
That's mostly
you
just
like signs on a wall.
Hey guys, can you build something? And then they give it to me. Sweet. You guys did awesome.
Hey, so
that's good stuff.
So you have an approach that I really, really like with this whole the iron ingots are silverish, and so why isn't the cauldron silver? So again, I have a question. I need validation for myself, but also I'd love to know what your approach would actually be. So I really wanted to add more black ink to my server. And I was trying to figure out a way to do that, but squid were actually they were pretty rare because we had so many players and the spawning was a little bit off. So I decided to add pomegranate drops to certain jungle trees, and also that you could find ferrous sulfate, and then you mix the ferrous sulfate. Now, these were all custom textures. With 1.14, you have the new custom model data stuff. Mix the ferrous sulfate with the pomegranate together, and you would produce black ink, okay? Because this is like the scientific, accurate thing that you can do with pomegranates and ferrous sulfate. Sure. Is that too much? Like, what would your approach be to adding black
Just imagine
ink?
A new player comes on your server and says, oh, where do we get black ink from? Oh, just go get the pomegranate sulfates out there and smash them together.
That was the fun of it to me, was that it was so ridiculous. But, that wouldn't work for most players. But
that was for you. I don't know if that was for your players.
No, that was totally for me.
Yeah, but you need these sometimes. You need that. I need to have this one thing. I had a troll hole. Wait. In my lobby for Calamity, I had a hole over an edge.
Okay.
And it was in the stained glass. So when players get to an edge, they jump. No one likes to fall down one thing. They want to jump down. So I had the hole perfectly placed so they would jump perfectly into the hole every time. And that's the kind of stuff that I think a feature for me. Feature for the creator.
Mind reader. You got to know what players are going to do.
Yeah. For black ink, is there more funny ways to make squids available?
Yeah, that's what I would do. Just have it rain squids every once in a while.
That's a good question.
I think of Panguino, and he had a map called Shattered. To reset the map, suddenly an armada of floating squids would go boop, 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 and just re-ink the map as it were.
There's no explanation to why the squids just showed up. They just... Because.
I mean, I think they were magical squids. They were flying.
Oh, okay.
Sounds good.
I think that's kind of... Oh, man. The logic of making ink appear... The first thing I thought is I want to jam on this, and what if you started killing mobs with wither roses?
Oh.
The mobs that drop ink, what if they dropped black ink from that point?
Hey. That's
that kind of thing.
That's a good thought.
You know some people who can make that happen. I bet. Huh?
Yeah, both of you, I think, right?
Yeah. All right. Okay. A few more things we want to go over in your history before we move into some fun stuff. You did a short-lived podcast. Actually, a few of them. One I was on, so we're turning the tables here. This was years ago. But you also had one called Limited Engagement, which is a pretty good map-making, community-based podcast. I'm always about the community-based. And you had, 3 other guys with you, right?
Yeah, the Pathway guys now.
Right.
Back in the day, there was myself, NickFlame20, who's Demon5 on Twitter, and... I guess Anyoneers, who both now run Pathway Studios, which is a part publishing company for marketplace people trying to break into the marketplace. They'll handle the publishing and the fix for it. And a map maker we all collectively love that we're friends with called Max Size Is, who made these elaborate colored cube. Yeah, right? Exactly. And before that, these major race for wool maps, like a ticker box or a tinker box thing with randomizing rooms and dungeons. Yeah. And it was so elaborate and wonderful. It was such a great imagination. So we did this 10-episode podcast. I was adamant, we're getting in, we're getting out. We're not going to do this forever.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were taking What were you doing? You were reviewing maps weekly as part of it, right? Kind of what you're doing now, a little bit.
I had like a minute monologue at the top.
Yeah.
In season 2, we swapped that out to everyone, and then we would choose 3 community projects to review, and all of the prep time was just playing these maps, trying to figure out, okay, is this a good thing? Is this like something to showcase? Not from the big guys, but from the up and comers, from the community, the proper community, not the proper famous map making community with all their big hits like Skyblock and City of Love and I just keep thinking about Jake, but
I do too.
Yeah, all the time.
And then you would have these little segments for the listeners saying, okay, here's your homework. Build I remember you talked about tropes one time. You know what? See, I got a good memory. Build
I have
some
terrible
sort of
memory.
objective where you got to open a door or something like that, right?
Yeah, the classic, the most classic map you could ever do. The most classic game is walk down a hallway and open a door and you have a game.
Yeah.
I remember making this case. Like, it doesn't have to be more complex than this. You could make a game. If you can do this, you can do this and just do it over and over and over. Maybe one hallway has a hole in the floor and the next hallway has some levers you have to press and the next hallway has enemies.
Yeah.
If you think of it like this, that's the connection I was trying to make to someone who was interested is don't be intimidated because it can be this simple. And that's what those challenges were for.
We got 10 minutes left, brother, before we got to move in. What do you want to... Do you want to go to Voxel Box or do you want to go to some secret history?
What? I'm sorry. I've never seen a transition like that before. That was an amazing
Well, okay. So I got a bunch of stuff. This happens every time. I don't have enough time to go through it. You were in the Voxel Box. The Voxel Box was a really popular map building team back in the day. I don't think they're around anymore, are they?
They're Imagiverse now.
They're Imagiverse, okay.
So the history of the Voxel Box in like 15 seconds is it was a build server that was the build server for a short while. They, as a group, did Deep Sea Turtle Chase.
Deep Space Turtle Chase, yeah.
Yeah, Deep Space Turtle Chase.
Yeah.
Which was incredible. It was the thing. It's like, wow, yeah. So I logged onto the server. I got my build application. It was a bar called Van Gogh's Ear. So I had a giant severed ear on the roof.
Okay.
And the rest was just kind of a substandard build.
Yeah.
But I got in on concepting and never went to the server again.
Oh.
But I met Kupo and I met Featherblade on the server. And they were so nice. So we kept in touch. And we had Kupo on the podcast once to join, and then we just kept talking, and that's how I got into the Voxel Box. As they pulled away from being a server, and they wanted to be a small build team doing commissions.
Yeah.
So they gave me a job as their Redstoner, found work for me, saved my life. Like the Voxel Box, in no small part, like got me through a lot of hard times, like in a real financial way.
Cool. That's amazing that we have people in this community that can like come together, support each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kupo and Featherblade in particular were the best.
Yeah.
To me, the best builders, the most adept, most creative. They're what I call now full stack builders. They could terraform, they can world gen, they can do organics, they can do structures, they can do everything, interiors, exteriors, and they make it feel, the 3D composition power they have is I could gush for hours and hours about those people.
You did Genius Machine, which I played on the YouTube channel with a microwave and a burrito. I think you at least textured a microwave.
I did do the microwave.
Mukluk Lodge. What else was under that when you were with them?
Let's see. We did a build for the Smithsonian Museum in Boston, which is essentially like a role-playing fan letter to every artist and socialite in the Paris area or over the Canaletto bit. So that was fun because we got to do a lot of research on historical figures, all centered around this painting. And then we spent a lot of time thinking about whose party would they go to? Who would they hate? Like, how are they placed out in this area as the player explores?
Go pick up the dinner baguette and hurt them on the head for getting in a fight.
I think Mukluk Lodge was the best one that we'd done out of there.
Yeah.
Because it was so different than everything else.
It was like a
which
resort.
Is what we went for.
You're at the snowy place and take the ski lift up. I didn't play that one, actually. I should have played that one this week on research.
It also had a role-playing kind of story. You could follow several different threads and go to different areas and find like the ski-free Yetis just hanging out in the cave. And you find them through this really cool bit.
I really liked that. From what I could see of Mukluk, I wanted to download it, but I couldn't actually find a download link that was active. Yeah. Do you still have that, by the way? Do you have it?
I have old hard drives that I need to hook up and do this exact thing
I
for.
can get Monkey Island on my computer.
But
I have like 450 versions of Calamity.
Oh goodness!
on old hard drives somewhere.
We only went through 4 of them. But yeah, like I really liked that about from what I saw with Mukluk was it was more than just this, ski lift with some skis and jumps and stuff. You also had like the penguins off on the side and the little shopping area and all this. And I was like, hey, this is actually like, I feel like I'm in this place, even though it only has 2.5 stars and, no facilities and things.
That was his own rating. He's the one who gave it 2.5 stars.
I used to play this game here, Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight.
You would bring that up.
I'm going to bring it up because Mukluk is based on that, on a project called Drazen Isle. And one of the key features was a treasure hunt that was announced every, I think, 10 to 20 minutes. And what would happen is you'd find a key at a location, and then you'd bring it to the librarian. This is in Mukluk. And then they would tell you the location of the final treasure from the riddle. And then you'd have to rush and go get it. So to me, that was the thing that elevated above just an adventure map, just a minigame map. These global kind of things where suddenly players will swarm to an area and then it's done and then they disperse.
Well, now I feel totally dumb because you had sent that link over about the Star Wars game.
It's like, I'm dying to talk about Jedi Knight.
What does this have to do with Mukluk? Well, now I understand what it has to do with Mukluk.
I drop hints like that all the time. Don't worry about it.
It's like all the maps he makes are going to have.
Dark Forces 2 is amazing because you could do scripting client side, server side, and level side. And if you were smart, all 3 of their Lucas's Arts scripting system, which was called COGS, just had so much freedom in what you could do that everything that we're seeing in Minecraft exists in some form in a Dark Forces 2 map.
I had the first game on a sampler and I didn't like it because it was too hard for me. I gave up on it.
The second game has the most beautiful level design in like a massive scope for a Star Wars game. It felt huge and big and polygonical. I don't know.
McGonagall. Professor McGonagall.
It's like the Minecraft version in polygons.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, okay, before Q, I know Q has some other questions he wants to get through. I want to let him just fire through those. But first, you're working at Mojang. You've done map reviews. You obviously are inspired by a lot of video games like Bastion and Guybrush, Monkey Island. And do you see Minecraft as a game development platform?
Yes.
You skipped the whole intro.
I know, but I wanted to hear him say it, not you say it. I wanted to hear him say it. Why do you think that has Minecraft always been a game development platform, or was there a certain point where it became that?
I think with the introduction of command blocks, I think was the biggest shift in the concerted response. Speaking as a community member, as a response from Mojang to say, "Yes, I see you," not just to the modding community, but to people like a Jiggerbob or like a qmagnet or like more classic map makers like Kingdom in the Skies.
Yeah.
It's yes, I acknowledge you, I see you. Here's a tool to make your life easier.
Yeah.
To me, that's the biggest shift. The introduction of command blocks and then the enabling of running commands in sequential order, even through Redstone and repeaters and all that kind of way.
Yeah.
Then it became, I wouldn't say not like a switch, but the transition towards giving creators tools to work easier. Like a fill command. Oh my God. We used to do this with falling sand.
Yeah.
I remember exactly when that came out because set block was first.
Traslander was first.
And Traslander first. Okay. So other than community members, it's like one command and then I'm like, oh my goodness, I can do like a whole area. It's right. In the moment of Diversity 2 building it, that command came out and I was blown away. Anyway.
It's incredible.
Yeah, a couple other things. Then we're going to go to some, I haven't decided what to call it yet, Stiflers. So get ready for your splash test.
Ready. Let me get my notes.
Okay, I'll say them both at the same time and you can kind of cover them. So you're now at Mojang, as we said. You came from my country, our country. You still feel Canadian? Yeah, I don't know. How is that move? Canadian. And also, the second question is, on your Twitter, you've got Dinner Party Games, your game studio. Why don't you cover that? So those two sort of things.
Sure. Mojang, being a Canadian, being a Mojangster is incredible. And Sweden is a very good country to live in, very like Canada in many, many ways, with universal healthcare, where things kind of work better in Sweden. I've only lived in Stockholm, so I guess a major city. Is the transit here is so much better than it ever was in Canada and any place I ever lived. It makes sense. It's logical. The healthcare system just works. I did my taxes by sending a text message one year.
What?
Yeah,
I'm moving.
That's the good stuff.
That's amazing.
I did my taxes in like 15 minutes this year through a website.
Wow.
So
if you're looking for better really transit, better taxes, and better tarantulas, go to Sweden. I had a T word. I don't know.
That was good. Good job.
Anyways, Dinner Party Games is my Discord server, essentially. But we're also working on a game, a small group, a subsect of the people there. And I host everything. Every project I do is now they have a chat under this server. To me, I love dinner parties. I love bringing people together, and especially people who maybe don't have a friend or don't know how to be social. I like to bring these amazing artists and people together to just get to know each other and hang out in a really relaxed situation. To me, the best thing is to have like a party of 8 people, and then there's this moment where I can kind of like sit back and be like, yeah, this is nice. Like I brought these people together. And I think about that for making games. And when I was making Calamity, when I made Muckluck, when we did the podcast, to me, the best feeling was bringing creative people together, not fans, not an audience, but contemporaries together, and inspiring people to kind of make great content and want to elevate themselves and be the next great thing. That's what I love.
I think that's really cool. I was looking back on some old blog posts from like 2014, 2015, and all the way back then, you were talking about the importance of community And there was another, I can't remember the name now, but somebody else was writing about having conversations with you about sharing ideas and inspiring each other as community members. And I'm really glad to hear that that's still such a huge part of what drives you as a game developer today. Is that importance of community and bringing people together like a dinner party. That's super cool.
I think about fandom in this way now, and I always have. I have a respect for fandom, but to me, that's wholly separate from what I'm interested in, which is like if I see like a John Carmack or a Jigarbov or I guess now who am I standing right now? ContraPoints right now. I would like to just like have a drink and have a chat, like have that kind of conversation. I find that so much more valuable to think about the people who are also working around me and making amazing things. That's where I want to be. That's why I came to Mojang. That's why I think about like the developers here on the vanilla team, like your Dinnerbones, your Jens, your I guess now Max and Telemakis and everyone that I really admire at Mojang. I continue working here because I want to work with who I consider to be the most creative and the best and the most forward-thinking creators. That's why I went to Voxelbox too, because I thought they were the best. And I thought I want to work with the best because I want to make really interesting progressive ideas.
That's why you came on the Void Frogs podcast, because you thought they were the best.
That's exactly
I get it.
So you treat like the people that you stan, the people that you are such a huge fan of, you kind of approach them a little bit differently. Do you have a different approach for people who stan you? Do you have a different feeling or a thought of what they are? Because some people want to create community where they're like best friends with all of their fans and I love you guys and that sort of thing. And some people are more like, those are my fans. I have nothing to do with them. And then there's some in between. Like, how do you treat the people who stan you?
I feel like this is to me a harder subject.
Yeah.
Because
sorry.
You take on to me. I take on a certain responsibility when someone makes contact with me or wants to chat to me or admires me. I think so. I'm so concerned about how I can live up to this image, or to their expectation of me.
Yeah.
And I've done this before with. I used to run a Skype chat group called CritMap, and then also TechMap, which did different things. Now it's a test for dev server that I have the ownership of, but I would say that belongs to the community now, and the community that came from that Skype group. I think of fandom now like Rebecca Sugar, who's a creator, a cartoonist. She made Steven Universe and worked on Adventure Time. She wrote a song that was the ending to Steven Universe called "Love Like You," and the quote in the song is, "I always thought that I might be bad. Now I'm sure that it's true because you think I'm so good and I'm nothing like you." And I think of that as if someone likes what I do and what I'm about, I relate to them in this way of like I'm just trying my best, and if I can do good by you, amazing.
Yeah,
that's the best I can. But that extra responsibility and then letting people down, of not being able to be present because my life or my mind is somewhere else. Taking that responsibility for a community is so difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I try not to.
Yeah.
As much as I can. I try to just be normal or a bit trolly or something.
Or heartless.
Trolly.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not to the earnest people, but to the ones who you get people who are just trying to make a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if they came on your server, you'd be like, "Oh, you want black ink? Just go find a pomegranate tree.
Dude.
Yeah, it's over there. Keep looking for that tree."
And the
That's
Pharisee.
why I really wanted it in.
They're super rare. Maybe you have to walk 3,000 blocks.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's kind of our first portion. We do a few fun little segments now, but that's kind of our history of.
That was a good start.
That's the intro.
There you go. Yeah. All right, so now we are gonna go on to this segment. I couldn't think of another name, so I'm just calling it Rapid Fire or Random Fire. We could call it. Yeah, Random Fire. Moesh, have you seen this far into one of the episodes before?
I have, yes.
So you know what's going on.
3.5 episodes. And then I skipped ahead to Jig. And I went, yeah.
You are his
I'll
number
finish
one
this
fan.
another time. I am.
So we're going to ask you 5 weird random questions, not to do with your history, put you on the spot. We used to call it, we try calling it rapid fire, but we don't really speed through them, so...
Yeah.
Random fire.
Random fire. If you have any... Oh, and listeners, as I usually forget, if you have any questions to submit, you could be asking Moesh this time, like this day, if you had been back in time and asked it before.
Yep.
Anyway, are you ready?
Could have happened. Absolutely.
Okay, number 1. When is the last time you experienced nostalgia?
Earlier this week, listening to the Jigarbob podcast with you guys, like to talk about the old days.
I thought you were going to say
it
Monkey
hit me
Island.
real bad, Boo. It hit me real bad. I know exactly the moment that I had to stop working and just go, Adventure Map Complex.
Oh.
When you said that, I had flashbacks to when he was making this, and to me, he was already up here.
Yeah.
He was doing big things, and I was just like, "Please, sir, can I learn to map make from you?" That was the big nostalgia wave for me. Thinking about that, and now I'm watching The Wire again.
Yeah.
And the last time I watched this is when I first made Calamity, so it's almost 7 years ago. I was busting through The Wire and map making every day.
So we can expect Calamity 5 coming out soon. Okay, next question.
Definitive edition.
Definitive edition. Nice. So this question is actually question number 2 here. I'm going to change it just a little bit. I hope Q, you don't mind.
See, the only one is the only one who's going to know it. You can just change it and
I know,
going to know.
I want your permission first. So,
no, you can't have my permission.
What is the funniest dream you've ever had?
I have a dream of performing in my high school audiences in coffee house, like monthly shows. I'm not on the big screen of an LCD crowd. So when I have dreams, I think about like performing to the people I wanted to impress in high school. I'm 33 now. You know, this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But when I have dreams of like being on stage, it's always like that. I'm like this high school gym with the bleachers pulled out from the walls, and they rolled out the plastic matting on the floor to protect the wood, the varnish.
Yep.
That's the weirdest thing. This is normal for me, but I always feel like shouldn't I be over this by now?
It's like a reoccurring thing.
Yeah,
because you should look up on like psychology if it means something. This means that you are.
No, I'm just gonna use it for art.
There you go.
That works.
There you go.
I'm just gonna keep working through it and make art out of that.
That's good. That's solid. All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay. Question number 3. I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say, but you can surprise me.
I'm nothing if not consistent.
What song lyric or lyrics best mirror your life or your life's motto?
How would you know what I was? You don't know the music I listen to.
Well, you were talking about Steven Universe. I figured you were going to go after that.
It's a beautiful thing. To mirror what I think about. It's weird because if I want to be happy and good, I'm listening to all this like boss rap music, and like epic, like look at me type in the things I'm typing in, like ooh, I'm so good at it, and so I'm just vibing off of that. but so often I want to have a quiet moment, and I think of an album, Our Endless Numbered Days by Aaron and Wine, which is like a coffee house kind of guy with a voice who is very soothing, and it's tonal, and it feels like a summer day to listen to that.
Mm.
And I think of that. I hope when people like think of me, they think of that kind of feeling that album would give me.
So you're more about just like the mood of the sound rather than a lyric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I there's lyrics I love, but I'm not gonna be spitting out Seven Rings by Ariana Grande
No, come
just because
on.
I love it.
That was my
much.
life's motto.
I want it, I got it. I want it,
was
I got it. I want it, I got it.
Or I'm just like, no, hollaback girl. That's the other one.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
Gwen Stefani.
Huh?
Yeah.
No doubt.
Do you know Sufjan Stevens?
Oh yeah. I have his Chicago album.
Is he does the artist that you mentioned? You'll have to say the name again, but is he like Sufjan at all?
Iron and Wine.
Iron and Wine.
New
he
crafting
comes from
recipe.
the same era. This 2004. Well, it's more like 2008 to be honest.
Yeah.
Kind of return to folk.
Mm.
And he's a quiet singer who does a lot of harmonizing, which I think is different than Sufjan Stevens, who he's operatic in his scope. He goes big so quickly, where this is Iron and Wine is a very quiet and a slice of life kind of bit. Where I guess you can make this case for Illinois, the album being slice of life everywhere, but to me it's still historic and epic in what it's trying to cover about Illinois.
Cool. I'm gonna check it out then, because I feel that sometimes.
The Shepherd's Dog, his second album, is that's the stuff right now.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it in Google
Chef's
Music.
kiss.
Question number 4: Is artificial intelligence ultimately good or bad for humanity?
I suppose it depends for what we define as human. First, I was a fan of Our Lady Peace when I was a child, which is a Canadian band.
Mm-hmm.
A really whiny, nasally singer.
Yes.
With kind of this sub pop alternative awesomeness. In the first 3-4 albums were amazing. The fourth album, their guitarist Mike Turner, he brought this book in. He was like, oh my god. He read the intro of this book, The Age of Spiritual Machines, when machines surpass human intelligence.
Mm.
And they wrote the whole album based around this book, including conversations from the book, from the author to a future AI. So this kind of weird narration would come between the songs. Ray Kurzweil, he's known for making these giant predictions, and this book was when are machines going to be considered human? When are machines considered to have a spirit? What is human? Like, how bionic do you need to get? It was a very scientific book, but I was there for the conversations. And I think about, when you ask me this, like, is it going to be bad or good? I think about this one conversation in the book where Molly, the AI, and Ray have this conversation about music. And he says, like, do machines in the future make music that a human could listen to? And Molly says, well, I suppose there is a certain subgenre of music in all the arts, actually, where we make art that a human would be capable of understanding and listening to within those wavelengths and those frequencies, or those violet spectral, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But it's really not necessary. I mean, we're certainly understanding of what a human's capable of understanding. So to me, I empathize with AI on this front of when you have this much scope, like, why you can limit yourself here, but it's like not squashing an ant or squashing an ant.
Yeah.
You don't think that, like, Matrix, like,
feeling.
the robots would take over the humans?
I think humans will just fail on that, probably. I mean, if we end up batteries, it's probably our fault somehow.
Hey, actually, okay. I before Q's last question, I'm sorry. You might be able to answer this question for me. In the April Fool's Day release of the Infinite Dimensions Minecraft, in the trailer at what's that?
From Bartosz.
Right.
Anyways, the dev, yeah.
Right. At the beginning of the trailer, there was a reference to great author John Scalzi. Do androids dream of robot sheep? Right. Do you know who's the John Scalzi fan that put that reference in that trailer? Because I want to follow them on Twitter. They're a cool person.
I don't. The way that I think about this now is we have the Java devs who work on the thing. Mm-hmm. Then we also have creative writers who are fantastic and do great work working on trailers and then shooting the trailer. So there could be a dozen people right now who have like touched it and like thought about this. But I have a few leads. I'll try to follow up on you.
I appreciate it.
I know a couple people who would probably have put that in.
Excellent.
This is why we can't call it rapid fire anymore.
I can't help it. I'm a fan.
I mean, you let me talk too long.
Random fire. Number 5. Speaking of talking too long, if you had the entire world's attention for 1 minute, 60 seconds, that's it, what would you say?
That's basically
time.
Yeah, what would I say? I would say I like you just the way you are.
Mr. Rogers, come on.
I would. I think of a Mr. Rogers quote.
Not a song.
Be good to each other. Be a good neighbor. Love and try to understand each other.
You gonna switch your slippers?
And be gracious to each other.
I
think is the biggest thing. Try to understand the people around you, especially if they have a different viewpoint. Like the best effort we have is in trying to understand each other. It's the best thing we can do for each other.
I thought you were gonna go with Bill and Ted's "Be excellent to each other," whatever it was.
No, I'm very earnest. Yeah. If you meet me in real life, it's different than Twitter.
All right, okay, that is our random fire.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Hey.
That was pretty good. I enjoyed that. Thank you for joining us on that random fire. Also, Mr. Rogers, what is that? Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood made me cry.
It's actually a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Trivia 101.
The name of the
says.
movie?
I'm telling you, the little song lyric is "It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood." Check it out. It's like that one of those obscure things that this witch never says "mirror, mirror on the wall."
You know, I think you're wrong because he referred to
this.
Now it's referred to as the neighborhood.
This. I guarantee it's this neighborhood.
All right.
Guarantee. Right now.
The movie is Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
I did a full watch through of all of Mr. Rogers' stuff over the course of a year, about 4 years ago now.
Wow.
So I have to contest this, but you know I'm like only 90% sure.
Go to
trivia. Next segment.
Trivia.
Next segment. Let's go into the Void Frogs trivia. So, Void Frogs trivia. I'm enjoying the Mr. Rogers that you care about this. Sorry. Void Frogs trivia. Let's get into that. We have 5 questions.
Getting it wrong.
Yep. We'll see if you can get 5 out of 5. We've only had like 4 or 5 people get 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Or
we gave them all the points.
That's right.
Bonus points.
So we have 5 questions here for you. A timer in my head. You've got a few seconds to be able to answer each question. And
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna see how you do. Okay, you ready?
And last time we were too lenient. So we brought the difficulty way up.
Wait, what?
It was.
Don't worry.
Hit it harder.
Don't worry,
was
they're all
Jig.
about you.
It was Jig. The last time we were lenient because it was your friend.
Well,
That's why. Giving him answers.
no more lenient ever again.
Do not give Moesh answers. Okay. Question number 1. Let's do this. Mucklucks are a soft-soled boot worn by Aboriginals, including the Inuit, Inupiat,
Inuit.
and Inupiat, and Yupik. I don't
Different
know.
peoples.
And are traditionally made of what animal's skin?
I want to say seal.
Seal is a correct answer. Good job.
A correct answer. We
Yeah,
also
there
would
was-
have accepted caribou.
/ reindeer.
We didn't get a chance to do the seal club feature for Muckluck, unfortunately.
I didn't mean to bring up repressed memories.
There's still
I'm
time.
sad, it was this nightclub that you could purchase. It was an underground nightclub for seals.
Hey, this should have been blue. You
Go
could have called them
clubbing
the
with the
Navy SEALs. See what I did there? Question number 2.
Nice.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Calamity is the name of a cartoon coyote from a Warner Brothers Kids TV show that ran in the 90s for 3 seasons, produced by Steven Spielberg. What was the name of this show?
Wile E. Coyote or the Roadrunner? I think it's the Roadrunner.
Let's back it up again, sir, because you didn't hear my question.
Yeah.
Calamity
Calamity.
is the name of a cartoon coyote from the Warner Brothers TV show. What was the TV show?
What was the TV show?
Yeah.
Yep.
His name
So
was
Calamity
Calamity
was the name of
Coyote.
the
That was
wolf.
his name.
Calamity Coyote.
Yes.
Thank you. I got that point, right?
No, what was the name of the TV show? That was the
I don't
character.
know this one. Skip.
Skip. You can't skip.
You don't know it?
I don't know.
So close.
If you think about old cartoon shows, like the popular cartoon
I
shows,
said we weren't going to be
you might
lenient
able to-
anymore.
I'm from Canada.
Okay,
Am I. I watched
You know
there's
what?
cartoons everywhere.
I'm gonna give that one to you because
You
are from
cannot
Canada.
give it to him.
And
How can you
I'm-
give it to him? It's not the right answer.
Because the man is at a disadvantage. He says Zed.
Calamity Coyote.
Yeah. It's from a show called Tiny Toon Adventures.
No, I never watched that. I was a Hanna-Barbera guy.
It's
And then
It was
Disney
the
Channel
it was like
cartoons.
kind of like the
Recess.
kids of the Looney Tunes, except I don't think they were related. So you had a
Oh,
kid
yeah, no,
version
I just
of
wanted to
Bugs
watch
Bunny
the
and a
real
kid
ones.
version of
Yeah.
Huh?
No, the only one I loved of that was the Henson comics, the Muppets,
Yeah.
Baby Muppets.
Muppets.
Yeah,
There's
if
no
you wanna watch a
calamity
horror
in
cartoon
Muppets.
show,
I'm
it's
going
Baby
off your
Muppets.
stuff. Go on. Question number
See-
3.
CQ. It's the Canada thing. It's the saying Zed. It's a disadvantage.
It's not. Zed is an everywhere except for the U.S. thing, not a Canadian thing.
Sure.
You must have had cable. I just had the 3 channels.
Sure. Question number 3. Geniuses. Founded in 1946, the largest high IQ society, a nonprofit organization with over 134,000 geniuses, only accepts members who show a minimum score on IQ testing or other approved intelligence tests in the 98th percentile, which is approximately an IQ of 131 or above.
Right.
What is the name of this organization?
Is it Mensa? Mensa International?
There you go. There you go. Good job.
Very good.
I looked at that and I went, I'm never going to do that.
I looked at that and
I don't
oh yeah,
respect
that's
that.
what I'm part of. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I just can't imagine saying, hey, I'm a Mensa member, and anyone I know going like, oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Really?
introduce myself. I'll make up a fake organization called Mensa, and we'll spell it differently. I'm from Mensa.
Actually, that's
Mensa.
a really good point. I wonder how many people actually are like impressed if you go up to them and say, I'm in Mensa, like how many people are like actually really impressed by that besides other Mensa members?
I'm not really interested in taking any more tests.
Yeah.
Well, you have to finish this test. Question number 4.
All right.
Okay, give me 3 steps. See how I did that? 3 steps. Give me 3 steps. Yeah. Is a 1973 song by this Jacksonville, Florida Southern rock band from their debut album. They're most famously known for their mega, super famous sing-along Sweet Home Alabama, and also in 1977, the plane crash that took some of the band members' lives. What is the band?
Leonard Skinner.
Didn't need to add that last sad part in there, but
that's what they're known for. Okay, I'm sorry. It was tragic. It happened, but dang, that's part of the history. Anyway,
you're right.
Ding ding.
Totally right. Every time I think of that song, I think of the Eminem "Live at Home in a Trailer." Anyway, you know it.
Also, the other guy in that scene died.
Yeah. Was that Proof?
Oh wait, was Proof was not in that scene.
No, that wasn't him. You're right. He was in the movie, but not that scene. Yeah. Anyway.
Last question.
That's 8 Mile. But it's a movie from I think 98.
Last question.
Is it 98? 2000?
Yeah, 2000. It's a little bit after that because I remember
2002, I think maybe.
I had just moved back to Detroit in late 2001, and it had come out right after that. But yeah, Q is not a hip hop head, so he doesn't know about all that.
That's all right.
Yeah, we'll teach him.
Just a mop head.
We'll learn him one day.
I'm a mip mop head.
That's right. Question number 5. Hey, you got that one right. Good job. Question number 5. Here we go.
Get it.
Limited Engagement was the season 4 opening episode of this 1978 to 1982 television show, starring the late Robin Williams as an alien who came to Earth and befriended a female Earthling, becoming her roommate, and eventually married in the final season. The show was actually a spinoff of Happy Days. What was the name of this show?
I want to say it's like Mork and Mindy.
Is that your final answer?
No, it's not. I only got the Mork part. I know it's like, yeah, it's like Mork and something. I'm going for Mork and Mindy.
Good job. Ding, ding, ding. Good job.
I can't believe you threw him off on that.
I know.
Is that your final answer?
Come on. Can't you give me like just one easy like, oh wow, yeah, you got it. No respect at all for nailing these, except the one.
I'm just like Googling, hey, is there something else about limited engagement? Oh, there's something about 3 steps. Oh, there's a band song.
There it is.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Shout out to qmagnet for actually coming up with all of those questions specifically, because I was lost with coming up with questions.
In translation.
So he actually ran that segment as well. So you guys got 2 segments from qmagnet this week. That's it. 4 out of 5? Is that what you got? Or did we give you that
4 out of 5.
Because you're Canadian?
No. Don't give me that.
The,
I'm a bad
never
Canadian.
Heard of it.
I never say
Go
sorry.
home and watch the entire Tiny Toon Adventures series. It's great.
No, I'm not going to
do it. You don't even have to go home. You're already home.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking about how much cooler they're going to be when they're grown up.
They don't ever grow. It's like The Simpsons. She's in a baby for 34 years or however long it is.
But there's a Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, that's like they're the teachers. Oh, the Bugs Bunny's the professor and all them.
All right, I mean, if Bugs is in the show, I mean, he doesn't just appear in anything.
That's true.
Well,
yeah, I mean, if he's in the show, then maybe.
It was a cute show. It was a fun show. But hey, yeah, good job. Thanks so much for playing Void Frogs Trivia with us. And actually, I think that's starting to wrap it up here for the end of the our chat with you. I've had a really great time. Thank you for joining us today on the Void Frogs podcast.
I would say I did not get any heartless vibe from you whatsoever. I don't know where you come up with that name.
I play a lot of Sea of Thieves. I'll tell you a story about Sea of Thieves.
Come on.
I've played the game for 2 years, over 2 years now, in March, so last month. I always wanted a pirate game. Always, and I wanted one where you could be like a proper pirate. Minecraft was that for me for a bit, in an anarchy server.
Oh.
Back in the day, you know, I played on that before I got into the YouTube and map making. I played in an anarchy server.
Ooh.
And I made great friends there. Just being terrible, hiding bases, chasing each other down, trying to like steal loot and take everything. So now that there's Sea of Thieves, this is really good. It's the best thing, I think, to be able to, in a video game, make a good friend with someone, but there's always this undercurrent of possible deception.
Are they going to
and to
steal
be a
my stuff?
rapscallion,
Kill
to like
me?
give the hints and kind of be like yeah, you know, I'm gonna go betray someone, and really doing it to that person, and then the great betrayal happens, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. That's the beauty of a game, is having these, giving players tools to enact like how they could be.
Yeah.
And like that's the best thing. It started with Minecraft, and I can see this behavior of not railroading players, but giving them objects and features that make their play experience more akin to how they want to engage with the game.
That's cool.
So Sea of Thieves is like that, and Minecraft's like that.
Yeah. Man, I really
Definitely.
want so badly to enjoy like an anarchy survey. I tried running one for a while. As soon as Bedrock Edition came out with the dedicated server software back in like November 2018, I think, September 2018, something like that. I launched one that same day, anarchy server, and I had one rule: no like racism, hate speech. And everyone in every single player, to this day, I closed the server forever ago. To this day, I still get messages from people saying, "Why wouldn't you let us do hate speech?" I'm like, come on. Let's do the hacking. Give me the hacking. Give me the griefing.
It can be so much more evil than that.
Yeah.
Like, I found someone's base, and I just took every single block they placed.
Beautiful.
So when they logged in, like they logged into these empty void cubes underground.
Beautiful.
With like one crafting bench and a torch.
I love
and
it.
a sign that said "Bad Wolf, Bad Wolf."
Very nice.
Bad wolf.
Oh yeah, anarchy can be so much fun, but people got to make it dumb. Anyway,
I'd love to do it with a group of people that I know.
yeah.
Where you find someone's base, this is a big moment.
Yep.
Has to have stakes. It has to matter.
Oh yeah. Be great.
Whoops.
Can you tell everybody where they can follow you and watch you work? We didn't even talk about Bastions in the Nether update, which you have been involved with. But how can people follow you to see what you're working on next?
You can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/heartlessmoesh. You can follow me on GitHub, which I think you should if you're a Minecraft game developer. At least take a look at my repos to understand how to transition to a more game developer company workflow.
Oh.
So frequent commitments. When you commit something, it looks like a proper feature that was peer reviewed. This is a great way to learn how to collaborate with people by using Git and GitHub. And I think there's a great workflow for Minecraft maps that we haven't yet established as an industry standard for creating.
That sounds amazing.
You can follow me on YouTube. If you look up Moesh on YouTube, I post just clips from gameplay from a bunch of different games and playlists. Don't follow me for content. Follow me for quips and updates. That's about it.
Cool.
But look out for It's Mine. It's a data pack that I'm developing where someone could design a level and drop the assets, apply the data pack, and then you have a working cave race game.
Wow.
And a well-developed and balanced one, if I do say so myself.
Pat on the-
It's, yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
All right.
And that's where you can find my stuff.
Do-
Moesh.se.
Moesh.sc.
S-E.
S-E, as in Sweden.
As in
Got it.
Sweden.
Because I'm in Sweden, I have to.
Swedish.
They force you. They get the letter. You got one too for Canada.
Yep. The
Ka.
.ca.
.ka.
Yeah, I used to have one of those.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Moesh, for coming on.
Yeah.
This was actually, for people who don't know this, you were actually suggested by, who? I can't remember who it was. Somebody said, hey, get Moesh on there.
My friend Skyo.
Skyo, yeah. She's
Thank you. I have to give a shout out
right?
to Skyo for.
Yeah.
She's so good at what she does, and she's we're working on something together that is not ready.
Secrets
to be talked about yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing that come out and seeing what she's gonna make an art for it.
Cool. Yeah. So if you guys have suggestions for people you want to see on the show, we will try to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Depending if they say yes or no.
Leave your comments down below. Go follow Moesh and everywhere that he just described. All the links will be in the description and in the show notes. And you guys should also follow us if you aren't already. Twitter.com/thevoidfrogs or thevoidfrogs.com. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and of course YouTube if you are watching it on YouTube right now. Thank you all so very, very, very much for watching. And Moesh, again, thank you for being here. Honestly, man, I gotta say, I'm gonna stand you for a little bit, okay? Don't I like you're into hip hop, you're doing the slam poetry, you did Bastion, and you watched Mr. Rogers. Come on now.
Yeah, but not all of it is dwarfed by his love of Monkey Island. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. So I
That's
think
where my love of pirates came from.
Yeah.
Well, Treasure Island too.
Rapscallion. Sea you Thieves. Well, yeah, we appreciate you being here, and thanks everybody for listening in and watching. We'll see you all in the next episode. Bye. Peace.